So Steve, at this place in history, we're in Winooski. And why is that?
Well, so Winooski is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year as an incorporated city. Of course, people have been living here a lot longer than 100 years, but it has so many great stories and beautiful architecture and great people. So we're going to head up to City Hall and we're going to meet with Joseph Perrin, who is the president of the Winooski Historical Society, and then we'll move around the city over the next few weeks exploring 100 years.
Winooski in March of 2022 is observing the 100th anniversary of the incorporation of the city of Winooski, but as a community it's much, much older. Actually, there's archaeological evidence of indigenous occupation going back about 9,000 years here, but within the past, since probably the 18th century, it was the site of development on the falls when Ira Allen, after the Revolution, established a sawmill and forge here. So there was early settlement in the 18th century. And then through the 19th century, it became known as the Mill City when in the 1830s there was a major textile operation. Then through the Civil War, there was great demand for the wool textiles that were being produced by the mills to fill government contracts for military uniforms for Union soldiers. It was incorporated as a village in 1868. Then by 1922, following World War I, there was a real burst of prosperity in Winooski in the Roaring '20s. And I think it was time that the village officers of Winooski decided it was time to really define the urban identity versus Colchester, which at that time was largely agricultural. In March of 1922, the village officers put together their charter and presented it to the legislature and decided to establish the independent city of Winooski.
Where did the name Winooski come from?
The name itself, Winooski, comes from an Abenaki word for land where the wild onion grows. It's Winooskitgetu. It's sort of the origins of that word Winooski that we still have today.
I'm curious to know if this is where City Hall has always been, starting in 1922 when the city became its own.
It actually has. What we're standing on right now is the site of a former congregational church that was built in the 1840s, and it was designed by a renowned architect, Ami Young. He designed the Vermont State House as well as, I believe, the U.S. Customs building in Washington, D.C. It was a jewel of the village at one time. It had a beautiful spire. If you picture the community church in the middle of Stowe, it was a building very similar to that, but a brick structure. And the congregation had shrunk over the years, and the building needed to find a new use. By the 1970s, they'd used the building as the police department. They'd used it, I think there was a teen center included in there. The city leaders decided it had outlived its useful life and tragically razed it. And then in the 1970s, I think around 1976, built this contemporary structure.
So Joe, we're inside the chambers, and you said there's something significant about the table we're sitting at.
This very table was once in the village offices for the town of Colchester that were adjacent to the Winooski block. And there's actually photos of this very table in that space where the village officers met in 1922 and voted on declaring independence from the town of Colchester. So this table itself has seen a lot of historic events in that 100-year period. And most recently, council approved non-citizen voting in Winooski. So there was a lot of really interesting debate that went on around this table.
At this place in history.